good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Whenever this reaches you, however this reaches you, I go by the name Big Papita. And today, we're going to go over Article 7, Grievance and Arbitration. However, let me put this out there. Let me preface this by saying I am not a union representative. I am just a member like you. I just make these videos because, as the book says, an educated membership is a strong membership. So the more that you know, the more stronger you become when confronted about any issue that's within the contract. That's all I make these videos for. Now, I've already been approached by someone that's a non-bargaining agreement unit member. Non-bargaining unit member. I've already been approached about, I guess, they saw my videos. So, with that being said, let me put out this disclaimer. I do have wine garden rights, which means if this discussion could in any way lead to my being disciplined or terminated or affect my personal working conditions, I respectfully request that my union representative or steward be present at this meeting. Without representation, I choose not to answer any questions. So, please, I'm just making these videos to educate workers. That's it. I'm not looking to start any mess, but I do have rights and I'm aware of my rights. So, Article 7, Grievance and Arbitration. Section 1. The parties hereto recognize and agree that industrial peace is to be desired at all times, and to that end it is agreed that for the purpose of adjusting differences, misunderstandings, disputes, or controversies arising between the parties, the following procedures shall be followed. Step 1. Grievances shall be limited to disputes arising as to the meaning or application of any provisions set forth in this agreement. Any employee who believes he has a grievance may present it orally to his supervisor for the adjustment with or without his union representative. The supervisor shall provide the employee a response within 24 hours. If the grievance is not settled in Step 1 and the employee wishes to carry it further, the grievance shall move to Step 2. Which means you have to try to work it out with a supervisor, with a manager, or whoever this grievance is with. You let the supervisor know what your grievance is. If it's a payment, something that has to do with your payment, if there's something that has to do with a violation, you simply let that supervisor or that manager know what your issue is, and they're supposed to come with a response within, according to the paperwork, 24 hours. Okay? And it's saying that if that doesn't work within 24 hours, your situation hasn't been addressed, then you can move on to Step 2. Okay? Step 2. The employee must file his grievance in writing with the union and a copy sent to the employer no later than 10 calendar days of the date of the employee's or union's or employer's knowledge of the action giving rise to the grievance. If the 10th calendar day falls on a Saturday or Sunday or holiday recognized under this agreement, then the due date for the receipt of the grievance shall be the following working day. Grievances shall list the article violated, the date of the employee's or union's or employer's knowledge of the action giving rise to the grievance, the date that the Step 1 meeting occurred, and the facts that gave rise to the grievance. The union and the employer shall meet and endeavor to settle all grievances within 10 calendar days from the date the employer receives the grievance, and the employer shall provide a written response to the union within 10 calendar days from the date of the Step 2 meeting. Okay, so what this means in layman's terms, you've spoken with a manager, you gave the company at least 24 hours to respond. They didn't respond adequately, so now we move on to Step 2. The date of when this action occurred, when you spoke to the manager, we have to put this in writing. After you put this in writing, then you're going to say, okay, look, this is what the violation was, and this is what gave rise to the grievance, right? And it must be turned into, with the union, turned into the union, meaning the shop steward. And you have 10 days from, I guess, when Step 1 happened to file that grievance. And when you turn in that grievance, the company has 10 days to respond. to that written grievance that you and the union came up with, right? So that's step 2, according to this. This is what step 2 says. All right, so have all your facts in a row. If you know that you're absolutely right, all you have to do is grab your phone, make a you can get one of those note apps, or you can have a recorder, and you could just physically record what happened, every detail, so that way you'll have it when you're writing this stuff down, and what article, what section, you'll know everything, so that way it can be addressed properly. All right, so step 3, if the grievance is not settled by step 2, the party shall first meet within 15 calendar days from the date of the employer's response in step 2, with the union's secretary, treasurer, or his representative, and the employer's area representative, in an attempt to settle the grievance. So, from when the company receives that written grievance about what occurred, how did it happen, right, the formalities, once they receive that, okay, and I mean, this is if the grievance is settled. If they receive that letter that you wrote, and it hasn't been settled in step 2, the company has up to 15 days to where the union and the company can get together and try to figure out a way to resolve this issue, this problem. All right, now step 4, it says, in the event the parties fail to settle such grievances using the above procedure, the matter may be referred to arbitration by written notice from the union to the employer, or the employer to the union, so as to be received by the addressee at their business office not later than 5 p.m. on the 15th calendar day following the date the meeting in step 3 concludes. Okay, so that gives them another 15 days after if step 3 didn't work out. We're going to arbitration. The parties shall agree upon an arbitrator no later than 15 calendar days from the date such written notice is received by either of them. If the parties are unable to reach agreement as to an arbitrator acceptable to both parties, then upon request by either party, the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service shall furnish a list of 7 arbitrators. The parties hereto shall select an arbitrator from the list submitted by the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service by alternate striking of names until one name remains. The party requesting arbitration shall make the first deletion. The parties shall complete the selection process no later than 14 calendar days after receipt of the list. So this could be a long process. A super long and tedious process. This is something that I don't believe the union, especially the company, doesn't want to go through. So there's that. The arbitrator shall have no power to alter, amend, change, or to subtract from any of the terms of this agreement, but shall determine only whether or not there has been a violation of this agreement in respect of alleged grievance. The decision of the arbitrator shall be based solely upon the evidence and arguments presented to him or her by the respective parties in the presence of each other. The decision of the arbitrator within the limits herein prescribed shall be final and binding upon the parties to the dispute. Costs of the arbitrator shall be shared equally by the parties. A dispute as to the amount of wages, fringe benefits, or contributions required to be paid here under or occurring because the employer has failed to or refused to pay such amounts shall not be subject to arbitration within the option of the union only. The union in such case shall be free to take any economic action, including the right to strike, to enforce its demand concerning wages, fringe benefits, or contributions. Okay. Yeah, it's a lot, man. That's a lot. That's basically saying, if worse comes to worse, the union has the ability to form a strike if something is going on with your wages. Something is not right with the pay, the things that they agreed to. They also equally share the, I guess, whatever fees or prices if an arbitrator comes. Yeah, hopefully it never really gets to that with any of you guys. But in the event it does, you now know the information. Section 2, grievances which are not timely in accordance with any of the conditions set forth in the procedures of this article shall be waived for all purposes. That's self-explanatory. If you don't follow the proper days that I was telling you guys in this video, then they can waive it. They can just say, you know what, it's not a part of the agreement. If you mess up and you're a day off, you're like on the 11th day, it's not gonna work. That's why you have to know the days and the times. Section 3, time limits as set forth above may be extended by mutual written consent of the parties. So it can be these things can be extended if agreed upon between the company and the union. Like, hey, we need an extra few days or whatever, and the union agrees. But in the event that they don't, they just don't. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. I mean, I really hope that you guys never get to the point where you're facing arbitration. But if you are, please know to reference this video. All right, and it takes a while. It takes a long time. That's why it's very important for you to know the union book and to know when you're being violated, so you can address it immediately. So you can talk about this immediately with a union representative or a shop steward, and it can get addressed swiftly. Because you do not want it to be a long, drawn-out process of he say, she say. You need to know exactly what it is. You need to know the dates, the times. It's very important to just jot things down, or just put little notes in your phone, or write it down if you have to. So that concludes this video. Thank you for spending time with me. Until the next one, and I'm out. Oh, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you want to be notified when I post new videos. Share. I'm trying to get to 50 subscribers. All right, I'm at 5 right now, but I'm trying to get to 50. All right, peace.